Welcome to Melbourne's best kept secret. This is Yarra Park. I think it's a fantastic park and I'm going to tell you all about it. But before I do, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. And it's really important to talk about the traditional owners because of course they were so associated with the flying fox. Bunyul's brother was Ballyung, a flying fox. And there's also a legend about why the bats only fly at night. They used to be able to fly during the day, but they got too excited, went too high, the sun burned their wings, which is why they have black wings, and now to avoid getting burnt again, they only ever fly at night. Let's go on a walk and I'll show you the park and show you more about the bats. So why are these guys flying foxes? It's because of their face with the pointed snout and the little pointy ears. People felt they resemble foxes. But scientists actually think they're much closer to monkeys. And often when I hear them chatting and cackling on as they are now, actually this is what monkeys sound like. I always stop people here because I just think the river looks so magnificent in both directions. And honestly, if you took a photograph of that, sent it to your friends and said you were visiting the Murray, they would believe you. Yet here we are, not 5 kilometres from the CBD. Why do the flying foxes always roost alongside rivers? Well, during the summer, yep, they do dip into the river to drink, but we think that the river helps provide a landmark for navigation when they're flying at night. And of course, if they're on either side of the river, you've got a much better view, where if you imagine you're in a forest block, you wouldn't quite be able to see what was going on and feel quite so in contact with the rest of the colony. Daycare, who puts their kids into daycare? Well, the bats actually have night care. So there comes a point in time when they're just too heavy for the mum to carry. And at that point in time, they creche their young. This is one of the creche areas. There's 3 or 4 in the colony area, and they leave their bubs here at night. What's incredible is that amongst all the hundreds, if not thousands of babies, the mothers can come directly back to their own youngster, who may have actually moved around during the night. They are a threatened species, and people say, how can they be threatened when there's so many of them? The bats are like a big wave that move across Australia. And if you're saying, well, there's thousands in Melbourne, what you're really saying is there's only hundreds in Queensland. And the big threats to these guys are climate change. And in the summer of 2019, we lost about 4,500 bats over those really hot days. On a much more individual level, there's backyard fruit tree netting. Every year in Melbourne alone, we get a couple of hundred bats that are caught up in backyard fruit tree netting. And it's so easy to stop. One, share the fruit in your backyard if you can. And if you want to net the whole tree, use wildlife safe netting. And the guide to that is quite simple. If you can stick your finger through the hole, it's going to catch a bat. So that's the end of our tour for today. Thank you very much for coming along. I do hope you've enjoyed it. The park is a treasure. The bats are amazing and we're so lucky to have it right here in the centre of town. I also hope this virtual tour sparked your interest to learn more about the bats. Parks Victoria does run tours led by passionate and generous and knowledgeable volunteers. So book yourself on a tour and come and see the bats for yourself.